Today I am going to put the shelves there, 2 shelves, like right there. And the shelves, they're only gonna be about 7 and 1/4, 7 and 1/4 inches wide. And that is because I have the frame of this wall here. And the reason I want the shelves here is because I want my little pots to go there. We have a beautiful window here. They get the natural sunlight. And on this corner here, I'm trying to create like an apothecary section. In here, I would love to have the same shelf. However, I may need to put an air conditioner unit there. So I'm a little undecided what I'm going to do. And also the pieces of wood that I have, I went in my garage to find what I had so I won't spend any money. And that's what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using 2 pieces of wood from the shelf that was in the garage that I took down, and now we're gonna use it here. First, I'm gonna take a second to take everything out of this area so I can measure and cut and move on with this project. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's video. You hit the subscribe button and you tag along with me as we do day-to-day homemaking, DIY, all on a frugal budget. I am so blessed to have you here with me today. If this is your first time here, I DIY this entire unit, the fireplace and the cabinets, all on a frugal budget. I use a lot of recycled materials as always. Behind this TV, there's used to be a window that I closed. I will link the video down below. I did it all by myself. I did needed the help of my neighbor who came and rescued me with the electrical part, and my son did help me here and there. But besides that, it's usually me and the dogs who always part of this channel. The measurements that you're going to be using, to be honest, is going to be depending upon the space and how high or low you need your shelf. So it's all going to depend on your needs. The highest shelf, the first shelf, it's about 26 inches tall. The next one, it's 15 inches tall. And what I'm doing here is first with the level and a pencil, I am going around to trying to make sure that it's going to be even. And the reason for that is this is a very old home and the floor, it's uneven, the walls are uneven. But I want to make sure that this shelf itself, it's even. So this is what I'm doing here. I'm taking a second to look back and make sure that it's level and that it's even. Next, I am taking a second here to cut the first anchor that I'm going to use to place the shelf. These are 1/2 inch by 1. They're very cheap. I believe they're about $1.29 or $1.99 a piece at Home Depot. This is the same pieces of wood that are leftovers from my molding that I did in my small breakfast nook. So it's very affordable for you to do a simple shelf. Now, the piece of wood that I'm going to be using for the shelf itself, it's very heavy. And it's 2 pieces of wood that I had in the garage with a shelf. We use it to store like heavy items. So I am clearing out that side of the garage, and these pieces of wood came in very handy. Plus, I am in love with the color. I did not have the proper nail glue to put this. Not that you need it, but I'm using E6000 because it is pouring here in Jersey. We are having like a super storm. It's been raining for the past 3 days. It's going to be raining for the next days. I am on spring break and it is absolutely pouring cats and dogs. But you really don't have to put any glue on your pieces of wood. I am doing it just because the piece of wood that I'm using for the shelf is very heavy and I just want to make sure that nothing is going to fall down. So feel free to skip this step. Now, the second thing that I can recommend is before you anchor your piece of wood, put the nails in first on your wood. Don't do what I just did in this one right here. In this one, I did not pre-drill the nails, if that makes sense. And therefore, my son had to come and held this piece of wood until I nailed this to the wall. But then I got smarter, which I know because I've been doing this thing for a very long time. I should know better to first pre-drill your wood. So when you're holding it with one hand, you could drive the nail down with the other one. And hope that makes sense. As I go along, I also want to make sure that I measure and level the sides. This side is going to be 6 inches long, and the reason for that is because you have half an inch. It's going to be 6.5 inches long, and the reason for that is because you have half an inch from the piece of wood that is right here against the wall, and all I needed was 7 1/4. Now, for the record and for full disclosure, for all my perfectionistas, type A, which I adore and admire with all my heart and very respectfully, I always look up to you. Please know that that is not what my channel is about. My channel, it's an inspirational channel from a homemade home with whatever you have. And the aspiration is that you and I, we continue to realize that within us resides the power to do great things with what we have. We could take something very small and convert it into something beautiful. I am terrible at cutting and measure, and I try and I get better every day. But I am far from making perfect cuts. Meanwhile, I do celebrate every time I get pretty close to my cuts. I do. I celebrate myself because, well, I'm the only one here that could cheer me up. And this gives me joy. This gives me a purpose in life. And I can sit in my couch now and look at it. And in fact, I was so in awe, so proud of myself on this day, which was yesterday, by the way, Wednesday, when I created this, that I am just so thankful and grateful that in my little house, I can have this area that is so welcoming and so full of life, and that I created with items that I had in the garage. So if you're here for the first time and you want someone that is a perfectionist, some of the channels that I love to watch is the DIY wife. I've been watching her forever. And she is really good at it. But she also, recently, she dropped a video where she also said, listen, at the beginning, I wasn't this good at cutting. And that is the whole thing. Start somewhere, start with something, and you'll see before you know it, you will grow into it and you will become better and better. Now, I do need your recommendation on the other side of the fireplace. I was thinking I can put a mirror, and that mirror will help me look upstairs. It'll point straight to the stairs that go up, so I'll know if I'm sitting down, is who's coming down or not. But I think it's going to look a little awkward if I put on the other side a mirror, like a nice mirror with more plants. The situation is, like I explained before, I may have to put an AC unit on the top. I do want to create shelf, but I need your recommendation. I also thought that perhaps I can go to take a trip to the thrift store, buy some old baskets, very cheap, and just put them there in decoration and wait until the summer to see what I'll decide. But drop a comment down below. Give me some recommendations, because it's not going to be symmetrical. On one side, I have shelves. On the other side, I don't. I would like it to be symmetrical, or I would like some recommendations. So I appreciate any recommendation that you could give me. Eventually, I would love to have the same shelves on the other side, because I figure when I'm hosting, we could put the drinks there and people, it could be like a little shelf where there's cups and stuff for the visitors, the guests. But let me know in the comments down below. I appreciate you from being here. I'm going to play a little bit of music, and I'll see you in my next video. Again, I am very blessed to have you here on MVP, on the go, on this community where you, my friend, are the most valuable person right where you are. Thanks for being here.